Here's something most people don't expect. Sometimes the fastest way to fix your money problems isn't earning more. It's completely changing how you handle what you already have. That's exactly what happened when I decided to follow Dave Ramsey's system for 30 days. I didn't change my income. I didn't get lucky. I just followed strict financial rules that most people ignore. And honestly, I didn't expect much at first. Today we will talk about I followed Dave Ramsey for 30 days. Here's what actually happened. So, before we start, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. 10. I faced my real spending habits. The first thing that hit me was reality, and honestly, it wasn't comfortable. When I started tracking every single expense, I quickly realized I had almost no real control over my spending. I always thought I was careful with money, but the numbers told a different story. It wasn't big purchases that were the problem. It was the small, repeated ones. A coffee here, food delivery there, a few random online orders that felt harmless in the moment. Individually, they didn't seem like much at all. 9. I had to say no constantly. Once I started following this system, I realized something quickly. I had to say no a lot more than I was used to. And that was harder than it sounds. Every day brought small temptations to spend. Things I normally wouldn't even think twice about. A quick snack, an unnecessary purchase, a small upgrade. It all kept showing up. At first it felt uncomfortable, almost restrictive, like I was missing out on things. But over time, something started to change. I began noticing how many of these decisions weren't actually based on need. They were habits, impulses, and automatic reactions. I wasn't really choosing them, I was just repeating patterns. 8. Cash feels different than cards. One of the biggest changes during this 30-day challenge was switching to cash for budgeting. And honestly, it completely changed the way I think about spending. When you use cards or digital payments, it doesn't feel real. You tap, you swipe, and the money is gone without any emotional reaction. But cash is different. When you physically hold money and see it leaving your hand, it forces you to slow down and actually think. Every note you spend feels more valuable, and every decision becomes more intentional. I noticed that I stopped making random purchases simply because it didn't feel as invisible anymore. 7. I started questioning every purchase. After a few days, something new started happening. I stopped spending automatically and started questioning everything. Instead of just buying something out of habit, I began asking myself simple but powerful questions. Do I really need this? Can I wait? Or is this actually important right now? At first, it felt a bit slow and even annoying because I wasn't used to thinking this much before spending, but that small pause made a huge difference. Most of the time, once I stopped and really thought about it, I realized I didn't actually need the thing I was about to buy. 6. Savings became a priority, not an option. One of the biggest mindset shifts was learning to save first, instead of saving whatever was left. Before this, I would spend freely, and then hope there was something remaining at the end of the month. Most of the time, there wasn't. But this system flipped everything. I started treating savings like a fixed rule, not something optional. The moment I received money, I set a portion aside immediately. At first, it felt strict and even uncomfortable, because I had less to spend freely. But over time, I realized this structure was exactly what I needed. It gave my money direction and purpose instead of leaving it to chance. 5. My stress around money went down. Something I didn't expect during this challenge was how much calmer I would feel about money. Even though I was spending less freely and being more disciplined, my stress actually went down. The reason was simple. I finally knew where my money was going. Before, there was always uncertainty. I would spend without tracking properly, and then feel worried or confused at the end of the month. But now, everything had structure. Every dollar had a purpose, and there were no surprises waiting for me. That sense of control replaced a lot of mental pressure, instead of constantly worrying about money. 4. I realized how much I waste without thinking. This was a real wake-up moment for me, and it honestly surprised me the most. When I looked closely at my spending, I realized a large amount of money was just disappearing on things I didn't even remember buying. It wasn't about big purchases or major expenses. It was the small, repeated spending that caused the problem. Things I thought were nothing on their own were actually adding up into something significant over time. A few extra purchases here and there, small conveniences, and unplanned expenses all blended together. And because I wasn't paying attention before, I never noticed the pattern. But once I saw it clearly, I couldn't ignore it anymore. 3. Discipline started to build naturally. At the beginning, following the rules of this system didn't feel natural at all. I had to force myself to stick to it, and there were moments where I wanted to go back to my old habits. But something interesting happened after a while. It stopped feeling like a struggle. Slowly, the decisions started becoming automatic. I began thinking before spending, without even trying to remind myself. It became part of my routine. That's when I understood something important. Discipline isn't something you're born with, or something you suddenly gain overnight. It's something you build through repetition and consistency. The more I practiced control, the easier it became. And over time, what once felt strict started feeling normal. 2. I started seeing money differently. As the days passed, my entire mindset around money began to change. Money stopped feeling like something meant for quick spending, and started feeling like something that needed direction and purpose. Every dollar suddenly felt more valuable, because I became more aware of how easily it could disappear. I stopped making random decisions and started thinking more carefully about every expense, even the small ones. My mindset shifted from reacting in the moment to planning ahead. Instead of asking, "Can I buy this right now?" I started asking, "Does this actually fit into my bigger financial goals?" That simple shift completely changed how I interacted with money on a daily basis. 1. I didn't become rich, but I became in control. In the end, the biggest outcome of this 30-day experience wasn't a sudden increase in wealth or a dramatic financial breakthrough. I didn't double my income, and I didn't magically become rich. But something far more important changed. I gained control. For the first time, I wasn't confused or stressed about where my money was going. I had clarity. I knew how I was spending. I knew how I was saving. And I understood my financial habits much better than before. That sense of control completely changed my relationship with money. Instead of feeling like money was slipping through my fingers, I felt like I was actually managing it. And honestly, that shift mattered more than any number in my bank account. What do you think about our video? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.